Hi, my name is Joel Comiskey. There's a famous book out there called Start with the Why. Simon Sinek wrote this book, Start with the Why. And Simon was a successful businessman. He knew how to sell his products. He knew what he was selling, but he became bored with simply selling products. And so he began to research successful leaders around the world, and he realized that they understood why they were doing what they were doing. And that's so important in small group ministry, because to continue in small group ministry, you need to know why you're doing it. It's not just about growing your church larger or following a model or even church health. We need to go beyond that. And I believe that the why, the most important why behind small group ministry is to make disciples who make disciples. Think with me. Jesus had a group of 12. And then at the end of those 3 years, he said to them, you go and you make more disciples. Now, they knew what he was talking about. You see, they had been with him in that group atmosphere. They were able to ask questions. They were able to see his miracles. Previously, Jesus had sent them into the homes and basically said, stay there, eat and drink what is set before you, find the person of peace. And the idea was to convert the householder and then to multiply that small group. And we know when Pentecost came, that's exactly what the disciples did. They met from house to house. They made disciples in house-to-house ministry and changed the entire Roman world. And so when we think about making disciples who make disciples, we need to understand that the group context is so important. And I think the first place to start is community. Now let me explain. Our God is one God that exists in three persons, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. You know, when Jesus was on this earth, he said, I am in the Father in me, we are in each other. You need to love each other as I have loved you. And so love, community, was at the heart of Christ's message. You know, it's interesting. Jesus took a ragtag group of people. Jesus wanted them to be like the Trinity, to manifest that relational love. And so often when I do small group seminars around the world, people say to me, well, Joel, you know, I really don't like the people in my group. What should I do? Should I find another group? And inevitably I say, no, stay there. Ask the Holy Spirit to give you that love for those people, and you will grow in your relationship with the Trinity, and the world will believe that God is alive. My wife is a wonderful small group leader, and I admire her because she really loves the people in her group. And I remember there was one person in her group who was always gossiping about other people. And Celise, my wife, knew she had to talk to this person. Why? Because she wanted this person to become a disciple of Jesus. And so she talked to this person saying, you know, you really need to go to those people with whom you're having conflict, like it says in Matthew 18. So community is so essential in small group ministry as we become like the Master, as we become disciples who make disciples. But there's another aspect, and that is the priesthood of all believers. We need to remember that all of the gift passages in the Bible, 1 Peter chapter 4, Ephesians 4, 1 Corinthians 12 through 14, and Romans 12, those passages were all written to house churches, those meeting in small groups. And the small group is the perfect place for somebody to exercise their gifts. It's okay to fail. It's okay to experiment with a gift and get confirmation or lack of confirmation because you're in a loving environment. Now, it's much harder when you're in front of the whole assembly. I like to tell small group leaders to talk only 30% of the time and get others to talk 70% of the time. In other words, let them grow in their relationship. You know, on Sunday morning, people come, they sit, they hear, they give, they go. But in the small group, it's a time for everyone to use their gifts, to use their talents, to be involved. The pastor oftentimes learns more than those who are just sitting and listening. Because the pastor needs to say, God, help me to visit that person. Help me to preach that message. Oftentimes those who are seated on Sunday don't have the same opportunities. But that all changes in the small group. Let me give you an example. I was in Connecticut and I preached on Sunday morning. 2 people fell asleep in my message. Now I couldn't stop and wake them up. I had to keep on going. After the service, I was talking to a group of small group leaders, and it was a question answer time. And one of the youth small group leaders said, Joel, I pray, I receive what I believe God has for the youth small group. But when I give them that message, they all seem so bored, like they could care less. And the senior pastor and I looked at each other, and then we looked at him and we said, welcome to the crowd. And I told him, I said, that morning I was preaching and I couldn't just stop when those people fell asleep. I had to keep on pressing on. And I said, you're learning how to be a pastor. You're learning how to minister when you don't feel like it. It's so true also for the members in the small group, because as they give, as they step out, they're growing in their relationship with Jesus Christ. They're becoming like the Master. And so we need to give them the opportunity to step out and to be like Jesus. I believe that small group ministry is the perfect environment to grow in discipleship. In my book, Making Disciples in the 21st Century Church, I talk a lot more about the different aspects of becoming disciples of Jesus Christ in the small group and in the small group system. I pray that would be a blessing to you. God bless you. If you like this video, please click on like and subscribe to our channel, but also check out the resources on our website.